In answer to a similar question a few days ago, in my Urdu question answer session, or perhaps, was it Urdu? Yes. In principle, I answered that the heavenly bodies have their own natural course to perform, and normally they should not be taken to indicate anything which will take place, or importance which is going to take place in the world. At least it is not because of their influence that things of importance happen in this world. But they have some influence, of course, but that is of a different type. Except, I said, in case when God has Himself spoken of these events, to become signs of some things which may happen in the world. This is what I answered, and later on an excerpt from Islam was sent to me by one of the viewers of the program, and he wanted to correct me because Islam had mentioned similar happenings as Kanita has mentioned today, and spoken at length on the philosophy of these things, and said that sometimes they're connected with religion and religious phenomenon. But when they are, then everybody can see those connections, and they speak for themselves. Now, why I was so careful in answering that question was because, according to a tradition of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when it was in relation to the death of his own son Ibrahim, or some other event, yes, it was, people started talking. Some sign had appeared in the heavens, which people related to the death of Hazrat Ibrahim, his own son. That is what I remember. Maybe some other event, but perhaps this is exactly what it was. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them that heavenly bodies follow their own course. They cannot change anything on earth. They do not influence these things. So the death of my son, that is what he meant. The death of my son cannot be caused because of this phenomenon. And if you believe in that, that would be shirk. That would be idolatry. So this has been misconstrued or intentionally misread by many Muslim scholars. And they object to any heavenly signs to appear in favor of any heavenly sign which appears on earth. But that something is quite different from what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam rejected. He did not say that heavenly signs never appear in support of heavenly signs. What he said was that the heavenly bodies do not create anything on the surface of earth, and they have no power over these things. So that is why I used rather cautious language in answering that question, because evidently Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself mentioned the eclipse of the moon and the sun. So if what he meant was that what happened in the heaven can never be connected with signs of Allah appearing on earth, on the surface of the earth, then he would never have made such a prophecy. Again, the Holy Quran itself presents the splitting of the moon as a heavenly sign. So how could Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself contradict his own prophecies, and more than that, the Holy Quran? So it should be very clearly understood that what he meant was that do not be superstitious. Do not think because that sign appeared in the heaven, that star appeared or set, so your life will be adversely influenced or favorably influenced by these things. Your life will go on independently and these things will happen independently. What he did not reject was that these signs can sometimes be employed by God to support his own signs appearing on earth. Clear? In the light of this, now I speak of this phenomenon which is being observed. Hazrat Muslim spoke of many special signs like the comets and things. And he said that just before God commissioned me to prophethood, the heaven was so full of shooting stars from every direction to every direction that it looked like fireworks being played in the heavens. And all the world newspapers, magazines, etc. took note of that and wrote about it. Strange things are happening in the heavens. And then I was appointed by God after all this had happened. Hazrat Muslim also mentioned that just before the advent of Hazrat Masih alayhi salam, the first Christ, exactly the similar heavenly activities reported by many historians and by his own followers and by the New Testament as well, that before the birth of Hazrat Masih, the Messiah, the first Messiah, that is Jesus Christ, heaven was full of these signs and shooting stars and things, and some people have also calculated, some scientists, that particular star, very luminant and bright, did appear at his time and has repeated itself, its appearance, just before the time of Hazrat Muslim. So if that happened then as a sign of something to happen here on earth, not by their influence, but under the influence of God's will. So these very special activities or happenings in the heavens must be taken to mean something. They must be taken to indicate that God has designed something special for this year as well, like he designed things before these stars appeared before. Right? What it will be, we'll know when these things happen. But one thing is most certain, that without ever having any knowledge of these extra special activities of the heavenly bodies, I declared this year as the year of the final mubahala. And I was somehow driven to it by God to do it now. This is the time. Later on, people started sending me Hazrat Muslim's visions and revelations, etc., which spoke of the year 1897, which was revealed to him in the year 1897, and which spoke of great things to happen. Particularly, the Mubahala was mentioned, and the destruction of the enemies. So many similar things were sent to me from the writing of Hazrat Muslim, which I mean to present to the Jamaat and the world during this Jalsa Salana annual conference here. So I will not divulge more of that. But this, I must tell you, that these signs may be connected with God's decrees, which are to be fulfilled before the end of this century. in favor of Ahmediyya in an outstanding manner, in a manner that world would not be able to shut its eyes to them, and they will see clearly that God's signs are in favor of Jamaat Ahmadiyya. So this is what I have to say about this, and the rest will be shown by the time to come.